So now if you call yourself a moderate, people are like, oh, okay, which corporation do you represent, right? So, but there are people who are actually closer to the center, right? So am I center left? Hell yeah, I'm on the left. There's not even within a, ask any right winger, ask any mainstream person, ask any established person, we're on the left. But am I as far as some others? No, I'm not. But on the populist establishment spectrum, I'm all the way at the end. I'm an extreme populist. And I say that, and I say it proudly, right?
Yo, Cenk Uygur came in loud on the Young Turks, acting like his extreme populist talk was the only vibe that mattered. But nah, Jordan Uhl wasn't feeling it, saying sticking to wild ideas just gives conservatives an easy alley-oop. Still, Cenk Uygur stood tall, doubling down live on the Young Turks, saying progress needs guts, not fear. The whole vibe on the Young Turks was pure flames, with Cenk Uygur spitting fire and Jordan Uhl clapping back like a pro. Viewers couldn't stop watching the chaos as Cenk Uygur works hard to keep his name buzzing on the left and right at the same time.
And we had somebody on our Operation Hope Town Hall on Wednesday say, I bought wokeleft.org and radicalleft.org because I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
Right? God bless, that's
like
great, right? But if we get defined as the positions that are the most unpopular, we cannot win. So I need to define us in a different light now. Otherwise, the baby's gonna get thrown out with the bathwater. And so I don't want that, to be honest. And besides which, I don't agree. So if I say, okay, I'm a proud whatever, right? And then people are gonna go, oh, okay, so you agree to all these positions. No, I don't agree to those positions. So it's misleading as well.
Let's make sure Cenk's position is clear because he's the face of the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur was hyping up how someone bought wokeleft.org and radicalleft.org, saying, bless up, that's dope. But then Cenk Uygur hit pause, saying if the left keeps getting tagged as the unpopular crowd, the whole squad's gonna lose. Cenk Uygur asked like, we gotta switch up the branding or it's game over, baby, bath water, all of it gone. Cenk Uygur is clear about this. Just because he's proud to rep the left doesn't mean he's riding with all their takes. People get it twisted, thinking if he claims one thing, he's down for everything. And he's like, nah, that's not the move. It's all about making it real without letting the message get messy. Later on, Cenk Uygur gets specific and uses the Transformers debate as an example of where the left gets it wrong.
So Jordan, the question I wanted to ask back is, what's the best term to use? Because we don't agree. Like there's some issues. I don't think it's a lot of issues, and I think it's overhyped how much we disagree, but there is some disagreement. So how do I refer to that disagreement? Do you see what I'm saying? How do I refer to the folks that we disagree with? So here, sorry, before you answer, but think about it. I want to give you one more example. So on gun control, I'm extreme left, right? I have a position that, to your point, in Europe and other parts of the world, Japan is perfectly normal, but in America is totally practically, politically undoable, which is I think you should be able to have a gun, but it needs to be in a safe locker outside of your house in a controlled area. That's exactly what Japan does, okay? And so if you wanna go hunting, you go get your gun from the locker, etc. But no one has guns, so they have 0 gun homicides, we have 60,000 gun homicides. But I know I'm not gonna win on that, right? But if you say to me within the American political spectrum, you're extreme left on that issue, I say, yeah, that's right, I am, right? So I'm not offended by that, that's just, on that issue, that's who I am, right? So if you call me radical left on that, I probably wouldn't like that because I'm like, I don't think it's a radical position, the rest of the world does it, and etc. So that's why, let's pick a word that makes sense.
I don't know. I understand why you think there should be more accurate labels. I think the words that you have used in these conversations have been unhelpful because people might see them as a pejorative. Extreme, max, radical. Some people, of course, there's some people who take that up proudly, right? But I think to many well-meaning people who aren't familiar with what you're talking about, right? they might see that as a slight or an insult. So I think that's a little unhelpful. For me personally, what term I would call myself, I don't know. When I was younger, I was, oh yeah, I'm a liberal, then I was progressive, then I was a leftist, and now it's like, I don't care. Like I want certain policy outcomes. I will do whatever I can to contribute to that work. And if it happens, great. And if it's unpopular, I don't care because it's what I believe in. There are people who make their political identity a label proudly, and to what I see, the extent of their activism is just correcting people and say, well, I'm not a liberal, I'm a leftist. Congrats, man. I just like, I think it's all hollow. It's a lot of it's performative. I'd like to see a multi-party system where maybe I do have a label and a party that fits into it. But I think in our current system, a lot of that's subjective and people could misinterpret it. So I do think it's undercutting what I know you're trying to do, and I don't think it's the most useful.
Jordan Ewell is out here saying, I get it, labels matter, but the ones you're throwing around, they're kind of messy. Words like extreme and radical, it might sound cool to some, but Jordan Ewell thinks they hit different for people who don't know the context. They feel like shade, not pride. He's like, I've been through all the phases, liberal, progressive, leftist, and now I don't even care about the labels. I care about results. Jordan Ewell, a progressive activist and commentator, is known for breaking down the game with sharp critiques and no fluff. His back and forth with Cenk Uygur on the Young Turks wasn't just spicy. It was a clash about how the left reps itself. This wasn't just any debate. It's an internal battle between two key figures of the Young Turks playing out in front of their own audience. Jordan Ewell came in questioning the use of labels like extreme and radical, saying they could turn off allies and make the movement look like it's out of touch. Meanwhile, Cenk Uygur wasn't ready to let go of owning those terms as part of the brand. The vibe, tense. This moment wasn't just about policy or strategy. It's two heavy hitters from the same team airing their disagreements live. It's a window into the left's bigger struggle over how to win hearts, minds, and elections. Want to dive deeper into this convo? Hit up our Discord or drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, so I hear you, and that's another fine disagreement to have because I need to distinguish it. If I don't distinguish it, we're all in the same boat with the most unpopular. And in fact, again, back to the gun control example, I would, like if I'm talking about it, I'd say, look, let's say I'm on a right-wing show or a mainstream media show or something. I'd say, yeah, I'm extreme left on gun control, but I know I'm not going to win. And why do I say that about my own position? Because I don't want to hurt the rest of the party, the rest of the movement by attaching a super unpopular position, right or wrong. Obviously, I think it's right, it's my position. It works for the rest of the world, right? And so, but I don't want to attach that unpopular position to paid family leave and Medicare for all. You see what I'm saying? So, but that requires a little bit of, recognition of what your positions are and what's popular and what's not popular. Mm-hmm. And when Justice Democrats ousted me, and there I could have caught a lot of feelings, right? And I could have said, screw these guys. And I could have said, don't donate to them, don't help them. And I didn't. I said, eyes on the prize. They got to get elected so we could win on policy, right? And so, do you see the others doing eyes on the prize? Guys, let's make sure we win so we could win on policy so your lives can improve? Or do you see a lot of, I'm better than him, I'm more pure, etc. And then I was using max lefts, I was trying that one. Mm-hmm. And then I got pissed and I went back to radical left. And the reason is because the guys who are making those, the bad faith arguments, they are radicals. They're saying, if you don't agree with me 100%, you shouldn't even be allowed to talk. You shouldn't be allowed to have that freaking opinion, and you're definitely a right winger, and you're racist, and all these other things. That's so extreme and radical as a way of conducting yourself, right? So, but I hear you. I'll walk that back.
Well, okay. I also don't want to discount. Then there are people who were angry. Yeah. Let's take the trans issue. I think that's one where you and I definitely don't agree, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's I know there's the core rights. I think you're on board with. I would hope so.
Yeah, 100%.
But then there's other things the extremely politically unpopular things, right? So this wasn't her campaign. Trump, it was his policy, but it became a lightning rod issue. the gender affirming care for undocumented people. It's like a buzzword of all these things that are just designed to trigger like the independent or moderate or Republican voter. I don't care about that. It's just like, and I think if you're going to go out at a time where it's going to get even worse for trans people, and you have people like Matt Walsh in front of the Supreme Court saying like, we're not gonna stop until we erase all of trans existence. Now, I'm not saying you're on that side. I'm saying at a moment like this where it gets really difficult and it's going to get harder for people, I think a lot of people are concerned and wondering why even talk about things like this that aren't even really up for debate right now, because it could just play into the right's hand.
TYT drama exploded into an unmissable clash, with Cenk Uygur proudly flashing his extreme populist badge while Jordan Uhl surgically dismantled his contradictions in real time. Cenk's bold talk of empowering people crumbled under scrutiny as his policies leaned heavily into government control. Jordan wasn't pulling punches, calling out the hypocrisy and pushing for less focus on empty labels. The tension soared when purity tests and politically unpopular topics hit the table, exposing cracks in their claims of unity. Is Cenk's extreme stance truly populist, or is Jordan's pragmatism the more grounded approach? Who's winning this battle? This is Aftershow Carnage.